Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Clean Freedom Living. As you guys know, I'm Frank, and today Alex isn't going to be joining us. The topic we're talking about today is actually World War III with Iran, with North Korea. How likely is it? And we're going to be going into some more topics, but that's not really her lane. She doesn't really like to get into that. She's more the green thumb. So it's just going to be us today. Before we get into it, if you could real fast, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That really helps us out a lot. But anyways, so let's get to it. Alright, so first of all, guys, we're going into who these big threats are, why this is trending on Twitter, kind of give you a general overlay of currently what's going on globally. After that, we're going to talk about, at least in my opinion, what's the likelihood of a World War III popping off, or, lack thereof. After that, I've been asked a lot of questions kind of about what's going on. If I would go back and I'd join back up, or if there was a draft, how that would affect my family. So I'm going to cover that in this video as well. And then finally, we're going to be going and looking at if the war came to our shores, kind of what my idea, my plan would be. And then at the very end, we're going to wrap it all back up in a summary. So let's start it off. So right now on Twitter, hashtag World War III is going crazy with all kinds of different things. Both are serious and memes. It's kind of getting ridiculous on the memes. But what is that really? So essentially what happened is earlier this week, there was credible evidence that a high-ranking Iranian general was planning all sorts of nasty attacks on U.S. military members and different places abroad. We decided, as a country, or our government actually,
this house sucks ass.
Decided to do an airstrike killing a bunch of civilians, but also killing him in the process. Why everybody is freaking out is because Iran hasn't really been our biggest friend, so they're afraid of retaliation. Now, when a lot of you guys, I feel, hear retaliation, you guys think something's gonna happen here.
As soon as your eyes shut, I'm gonna punch you square in the face.
A lot of the things that I've found, at least in my time, is gonna be stuff that's gonna happen abroad.
Indeed. Thank you for sharing.
So we're looking at small attacks on small outposts at different places, more people maybe going to a jihadist role.
I didn't do it! I have nothing to do!
And the Iranis kind of facilitating that. We're going to be seeing a lot of third parties, so a lot of stuff where they're not actually going to have done it, but they're going to pay somebody to do it. The closest thing that the Iranis maybe do to us would be a cyber attack. And honestly, I'm not really too concerned over that. And that's purely because we have bigger enemies out there that do cyber attacks all the time. I'm not saying we have a great infrastructure, we really don't, but that's just not something that I'm too worried about. On the other hand, we have Kim Jong-un in North Korea, which gave us until the end of the year to kind of give some leniency on regulatory pressures we were putting on North Korea, and we just let it lapse. We didn't do anything about it. Whether you agree with letting something happen or not, that's up to you. I'm not really trying to get political. I'm just saying that's what happened. And so following that, he made some threats about testing more ICBMs, or intercontinental ballistic missiles. For those of you who don't know what they are, usually topped with a nuclear warhead, and maybe using that against mainland US or at least Alaska. So as far as talking about credible threats against the US, at least as far as the mainland is concerned, I really do feel like North Korea would probably be much more of a threat to us and even to Canada, one of our closest allies. So I'm not really too worried about it that much. Now, so that being said, I'm worried about it to the point that I'm making this video. I'm not telling you I'm sitting at home living a happy daisy life and just skipping with my unicorns, okay? It's still definitely a threat. So I am doing small things to prepare myself for that, but we're gonna get back into that a little bit more later, okay? So this is a question that I've been asked quite a bit since this all kind of jumped off. Would you join back up? If there's a draft, are you gonna have to go back? First answer to would I have to go back? No, I wouldn't. I served my time. I voluntarily joined during wartime. I voluntarily went to war, and now that my contract is up, I wouldn't have to get drafted again because I've already done that. And then the other thing also is I am actually disabled, so I'm not deployable, right? So the United States military can't use me in that capacity, so I wouldn't go anyways. But I went and I did that thing. I went and fought my war. But now my job, my role is to be here, and it's to be with my family. If anything, the only thing that scares me about protecting my family is when I'm not here to protect them. Alright guys, so one of the last things that we wanted to talk about real fast was what if it comes to our shores? What does that mean? So what we're talking about is, what if North Korea and Russia, China, Iran all got together and they decided to try and invade mainland USA, right? You know, the SHTF thing that we've all been worrying about since Red Dawn came out in the 1980s.
Wolverines!
So what is my plan? Well, I'm not going to give you a detailed rundown of every single step of every single thing that I'm doing because, you know, it's my plan and that's really bad operational security. But what I can tell you is that with us currently living in town, you have two main options whenever somebody invades. You can stay exactly where you are, or you can get out of Dodge. Now, if you already live out in the middle of nowhere, getting out of Dodge, I mean, you're there, not a big concern. But for the rest of us, I don't want to be in places where it's controlled even by our government and our military. Just because military rule is going to get priority to US soldiers versus the civilians, they will confiscate our resources and use them to fund the war effort, which is awesome. And in that situation, you are sacrificing, at least temporarily, your rights for safety and security. For me, I still, even in that situation, don't believe in it. I would much rather be out with my family in the woods where our security is our own, but we still haven't sacrificed our rights. You know, am I going to bunker in or bug out? We'll bug out, you know, and maybe one day, if hopefully none of this stuff happens, we'll have our own land, we'll bunker in. But that's just not an option for us at this point. That's kind of like where we stand with it. And yes, we do have a baby, and everybody's like, well, you live in the rainforest, you know, he'll get sick. You know, I've lived in the Pacific Northwest for a majority of my life. I played outside in the rain. I know how to keep warm. I spent a lot of time in the woods learning to survive. I think we'll be okay. Maybe not, but I think we'll be okay. Alright guys, if you guys like this video, go ahead and like and comment below. Tell me what you guys would do in the case that all this happens and whether or not you think anything is going to pop off in the first place. As well guys, check out our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter to stay up to date on every single thing going on in our lives. As always guys, from our family to yours, have a great day.